Hi, I'm Tracy.
And I'm Jessica, and this is She's on Top.
If you haven't done so already, please subscribe and remember to hit on that bell button. That way you'll get notice of all of our videos.
Today we're talking about how to connect with brands if you're a small business, a startup, or a micro-influencer.
The way I go about approaching brands is, well, of course, I leverage the contacts that I already have, people who I've known through my various businesses, friends of friends, take advantage of that. It's a lot easier to get a foot in the door when you know somebody, but I do a lot of cold emailing, mainly through LinkedIn. And also for me, because I have the opportunity to speak at many public engagements, I make an effort to really network with the crowd and meet people and form that really personal communication.
That was Joanna Track, who actually is a connection of mine, so I reached out to her through my network. She is the founder of The Bullet, a daily newsletter, and she has so much fantastic advice, but I really loved her advice about the network because we found that too, that reaching out to our network has been really helpful to us to, get interviewees and to have all our connections.
Yeah, one of the first interviews we did was with Melissa Maker of Clean My Space. And I really wanted to interview her because as I've said many times, I'm a fan. And the more we talked about it, you realized you had a connection, you remember?
Yes, it's a really funny story. Jessica loved Melissa Maker, and we were trying to figure out how to get in touch with her. And I realized, oh my goodness, my sister-in-law is friends with her sister. And so that's how we reached out. So yes, reaching out to your network, trying to figure out who's in your network is hugely important.
And then one of the things that we do consistently to get interviews is we ask the people that we're interviewing, do they know anybody? So after we interviewed Melissa, we interviewed Elle because Elle was friends with Melissa and recommended her. So that's a great way as well to use your network.
Yeah, reaching out to their network also always helps. And I guess my mother always said, I always reference my mother, it's all who you know. And it's true, it really helps who you know.
And if you don't know anybody, as Joanna said, you can start cold calling on LinkedIn, which was funny because Abbey Sharp said the same thing. Watch this clip.
What I did was once I established which PR agencies even had food clients through literally just Googling, LinkedIn is also a really great resource for that. But what I did was I just would call their main switchboard, usually a receptionist would answer, and I would ask for a senior PR agent on the phone. And I would just ask them, give her a rundown or him a rundown of who you are and what you're looking for. And usually then she or he would be able to tell me which food brands their agency was working with in general. And from there I was able to kind of get the contact information of the individuals and the individual PR agents who are working with each of those brands and then send out emails specific to them.
That was Abbey Sharp of Abby's Kitchen, and she is a food blogger and a vlogger. She has a YouTube channel. And yeah, she was mentioning using LinkedIn, and a lot of people we've talked to have mentioned using LinkedIn, and it's a great place to kind of do research if you're in sales and marketing. But you have to reach out and you have to do cold calling, which is not comfortable.
Yes. Cold calling is one of the worst things, to do. You always think of salespeople, and you think of you get those phone calls and when you're having dinner and the phone always goes and it's somebody trying to sell you something. So cold calling, I personally do not like, but I know that it is really, really important. And I guess you have to just suck it up. You have to just do it.
Yeah, you just have to, it just takes a lot of practice and you keep doing it, and for every 20 calls you may get one hit, but I don't think there's any easy way around it, do you?
No, I don't think so. Just have to do it.
So once you've made those initial contacts, then it's like, how do you reach out? Like Abby was saying, she would send an email, but what do you write in the email?
And Elle Lindquist is going to tell you how to do it.
I found something that was super helpful because I am a talker, but the shorter the better. You'll be much more successful with, hey, I'm really passionate about your brand. My audience is as well. I have some great ideas for a collaboration opportunity. Let me know if you're interested. Just a little hook. 2 sentences. And then when they reach back, then you can start to get into, well, I've attached my one-pager for your review. It's really just giving brands an idea of who you are. So who's your audience? Who are you? What do you offer? What kind of engagement and reach do you have? So how many subscribers do you have? How many views do you have? How many followers do you have? And then who's your audience? Because ultimately what brands are paying for is eyeballs, right? They want access to your audience. And so breaking down your age demographic, whether your male to female ratio, your geographic location, and all of that is in your analytics on YouTube anyways.
That was Elle Lindquist. She is a mummy blogger who has an incredible YouTube channel with a very, very engaged and loyal fan base. And she has given us so many fantastic tips. She was so generous with her time. And if you haven't done so, check out her video. We'll put a link above so you can go check it out with fantastic tips. But getting back to what she was saying, it is really hard to reach out to brand and knowing what to do. I actually hadn't even heard of a one-pager until I met Jessica and got into this sort of like, TV world. I had no idea what a one-pager was.
Yeah, my background, before I was doing this, I worked for 20 years and I used to actually pitch TV shows. And what you had to do is you had to do a one-page synopsis of what your idea was, kind of like to hook them to get the meeting. So when Tracy and I started this, we did a one-pager to reach out to people for interviews, and we just basically said who we are, what our background was, what our mission was for the company, and then the kind of people that we were interested in interviewing, or in some cases had interviewed. Like she said, really simple, less is more, but just so they get a clear idea. And it's very, very effective.
Yeah, it's actually harder than you think. You think it's easy, but a one-pager can be really difficult. A lot of tries to make it perfect because you've got to get everything into that one page. But as Elle said, simple, short, hook 'em. She goes, hook 'em. You got to hook 'em.
And the only advice we would say is maybe show it to a few people. Like once you've done it, give it to some people and see if it's very clear and they get it, whether they, test it out.
Absolutely.
I think the key to knowing what to ask for when you're trying to solicit a brand is all about listening. What are their business needs? What are their issues? And how can you solve it? So I almost try not to go to meetings with a fully baked pitch because I want to hear what they need and then come back to them and tailor something specifically to them, which I think has more likelihood of getting their interest.
Once again, that was the amazing Joanna Track, and I love that piece of advice. We got that piece of advice, and it really comes down to listening, because sometimes we're so busy selling an our idea that we can actually overpitch. You have to figure out where the yes is and then tailor your pitch back, which is great. So it's good to have an initial casual meeting without an agenda and then come back. I thought it was a great tip.
Yeah, it's so true. Sometimes you go to a meeting and you bulldoze ahead, this is what you want. And maybe that's not even what they're looking for. And there's something else that you could do for them. So I think listening is really key. It applies to everything, actually, even in relationships. Even as business partners, we have to listen to each other. So listening, as Joanna said, is really, really important.
I saw a quote the other day, and it was something about most people aren't listening. They're just waiting to make their next point. And so sit back and listen.
At the end of the day, brands really do want to connect with you. And we actually did a little bit of research, and we found over 57 companies that connect brands with influencers. In fact, there's one that's called Tribe Group, and they specialize in connecting micro-influencers with brands, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, so micro-influencers, people are looking for you.
We hope you found this interesting and informative. And let us know, have you reached out to brands?
Yeah, if you guys have tips that you want to share with us, we would love to hear them.
And if you've enjoyed this video, please remember, give us a thumbs up, and also, please subscribe.
See you next time.